Race fans, hello and welcome Thursday night for Above the Cushion right here, your official podcast for Humboldt Speedway and 81 Speedway. We got 2 nights of Whitworth Spring Classic headed right at us starting tomorrow at the world-famous Humboldt Speedway. Over in Humboldt, Kansas, we're getting really geared up, excited. We posted a picture of Saturday night's prize on the Facebook page. If you've not seen that, go over there and get a look at what the trophy is for Saturday night's little custom trophy. Also have one for Friday night as well. We'll unveil that tomorrow before we get racing. But want to remind everyone, all the drivers, not everyone, all the drivers, make sure you are pre-registered while you're watching the show tonight, while you got some time, tomorrow during your lunch hour or something. Don't want you to be on your phone at work, but if you got some time on your lunch break, make sure you are registered at the track to avoid any long lines, anything getting into the speedway. Be pre-registered, be ready to go. So you can just get your pit pass, get right in and get your spot and get ready to go for 2 nights for Whitworth Spring Classic with the USRA Heartland Modified Tour and RacingDirt.com. We're super excited to get them back and start their season off. As we have the past couple years, it's been absolutely fantastic partnership with Humboldt Speedway and the Heartland Modified Tour. So we're excited to get back and see everyone and get racing. Race season is here. It's going to start tomorrow over at Humboldt. Tonight on the show, Shadren Turner going to join us live from actually Humboldt Speedway. He is so excited to get racing. He just spent the whole week over in Humboldt. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Doing absolutely fantastic. You've been over there jokingly. You've been over there working. You're a 9-to-5 blue collar man like the rest of us, trying to race when you can. But you've been over in Humboldt, ironically, and ready to go. How's it feel to get a little head start on the old Humboldt action?
Yeah, I guess you could call it that. I'm sitting in the Super 8 in Iowa right now, so. Yeah, we've been working just right down the road from the track. Like I said, it's kind of funny how it worked out. This is the first week that we got sent here, and I'm like, oh, that's funny how that works. But anyways, yeah, so I'll get dropped off at the racetrack tomorrow after work, and we'll be ready to go.
That's every man's dream, just get dropped right off at the racetrack on Friday night and get ready to go.
Yeah, for sure.
Friday night, tomorrow's not going to be your first race. You've got the car out a little bit and got going. Of course, last year, your first year full time in an A mod, and I always joke when we were at this race, a year ago, you said, we're just going to kind of take it easy. We're just going to kind of see how things play out. So, kind of an adjustment coming from the B mod. But then you go on and you knock off 4 Heartland Modified wins and a couple other wins, and you just absolutely put it to them last year. So the learning curve was happened really quickly. You got comfortable in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. It's definitely a big learning curve still. I mean, we had a lot of success last year, but it definitely it depended on the night, man. I mean, these things are a lot different than what we're used to, and it takes a little bit more getting used to in the driver's seat as well. So we were fortunate enough to have some really good runs, but there was a lot of tough times and a lot of tough learning moments in there too. So, but I mean, overall, I think we all said it at the end of last year when we really stepped back and looked at the season we had. We were proud of it, being our first full year there. So we've got us to a new skyrocket by balance speed this year. And like you said, we got it out a couple times already, and it feels good. It feels comfortable to me. And I think just kind of taking what we learned from last year and trying to apply it to this thing. And I'm really excited about getting it rolling a little bit, as the season takes off here. So,
we have average race fans and we have really experienced race fans, but from the grandstands, the B mods and the A mods, of course, little bit different look, some spoilers, some stuff there. But when you talk about in the driver's seat, there's in the A mod, of course, more power, more suspension, kind of give the, maybe the casual race fan or the average race fan just kind of a rundown of what you feel the difference is between the B mod and the A mod.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised. Um, I knew there would be a difference. I just didn't think it would be as drastic as it is. I mean, I guess it's not super drastic. It's still modified, but I guess when you get caught up in looking at lap times and different things, when you're in the B mod and you're like, man, we're not too far off from these guys, and a lot of times they're not. That's 100% true, but I don't know. I think to me it's just obviously like you said the power, but I think the biggest thing there's just a lot more moving parts. Like you can just feel a lot more movement in the left rear, which makes things a lot more rigid and easier to make mistakes. And when you do make mistakes, they seem to be more of a mistake, I guess. Even though obviously you can catch back up a little quicker with the power you got, but I don't know. I guess they're just for somebody that's new at it, it's a little bit harder to be consistent, I guess I should say. But yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing I think is just a lot of movement in the left rear, a lot more movement there, and then everything is just more exaggerated. Like when you bottom out, or when you're too far over here, too far over there, or whatever. Like it's just you're going that much faster that it feels worse. So yeah, it took a lot of adjustment for sure, and that's another thing too. I guess not only from the driver's seat, but a lot of times we were lucky enough to have a good B mod and a consistent B mod and not have to change much. But on these A mods, I mean, even when you have a really good car like we do, you have to stay on top of your adjustments and really be paying attention to what you need to be doing there. So in a nutshell, I'd say those are the biggest differences, and it all adds up to quite a bit whenever you're doing it. So
you talk about just the adjustments you have with the 4-link suspension, and I don't know if you're running a pull bar or if you're running a lift arm, but what is the key in your mind to keep yourself from just adjusting, because you can adjust that car where you're just out and left. You're not even in the same track. You're out and you're not even in the parking lot. You're way off beat. There some guys I see them, they go out there for hot laps and they go back there and adjust, and they come out for the heat race and it is just way off kilter. What in your mind, what keeps you from because you have all those things that you can move around, and what keeps you from just throwing the kitchen sink at it?
Yeah, like I just said, you got to change a lot sometimes, but I on the other hand, I think the key is to not overthink it, I guess. Just kind of, for a guy like me, I guess, that's been in a B mod, just kind of think, don't get caught up in everything that we could do, I guess I should say. Like, just go out there and come back in and have your opinion on what you think the race car is doing, and then not overthink it and want to start changing everything because we can. We have more to adjust. Just kind of try to keep it as basic as you possibly can. Like I said, even though you have to change more frequently, that doesn't mean that you have to change a lot of things out of the norm than you normally would, I guess I should say. And also, I mean, it really helps to have good people to lean on, like Jim Chisholm at Balanced Speed, and even, like my car owners, Troy and Jeff and my dad. I mean, they're all been around racing a lot, that I can kind of relay to them what I'm feeling and what I'm thinking, and we can all kind of brainstorm together and not, get too carried away here, and just make a, nice, smart decision that makes sense in all of our eyes. And I think the best thing to do, like you said, is just even if you go out there and you run bad, don't let your anger let you make your decisions for you, I guess.
I always like to ask people, because I'm curious how you and you kind of brought it up, but take us back to the very beginning. You kind of talked about your dad, and he's been in racing a long time, but how did your dad get even involved in this world?
Yeah, I say he's been in racing for a long time. He actually, my dad started racing in the mid-'90s. him and my two uncles, there was a local racetrack in Savannah, Missouri that's not too far away from where I grew up in St. Joe, Missouri, and they just kind of got hooked on it by going to watch, and they ended up getting cars themselves. And I think if I remember right, my dad only raced for about 4 years, but he fell in love with it enough that he never stopped being a fan. That's where I fell in love with it, is just going down to the garage and just wanting to sit in the car with my dad's car, and wanting him to take me to the races all the time. And then I was lucky enough that my dad, I think, pretty much decided he was going to stop racing himself, and he got me into go-kart racing whenever I was 5 years old. And I think that's kind of where he transferred his love from racing to, instead of doing it himself, he could have more fun doing it with his kids. Because my brother, I have a younger brother, a couple years younger than me, that he got into racing the go-karts with us as well. And he didn't do it for very long. It just wasn't his thing. But yeah, we started racing go-karts when I was 5, primarily at Thunder Lake Speedway right next to Lakeside there in Kansas City. And did that all the way up until I was 12. And then, like I said, lucky enough again, I got into a B-mod whenever I was 13. One day I remember being in, I think, the end of 7th grade, and my dad was thinking, man, we need to look into maybe getting in this B-mod class. And I was thinking, yeah, right. But little did we know, we went and looked at one, and we bought one, and the rest is history. So,
sometimes that's just the step up. A lot of people will take we did the go-karting thing. Okay, we're gonna get us a little, a mini stock or a tuner car, and then we'll step up to the stock car and kind of progress up the deal. And then you have other people that, I've had a couple people on the show. Had one person on the show went from go-kart straight to like a super late model. I mean, just a massive jump. But sometimes that happens, and it's worked out really well. Of course, we talk about the A mod, last year with the Heartland series, but you're very accomplished B mod racer, have been for a long time, and finally, what was the turning point to just for you and your car owners and your dad to just say, okay, let's do the A mod. Let's chase this.
Well, I mean, obviously, as a kid growing up in racing, it's always been my dream to race with some of the guys that I race with now. But I was just very fortunate. A long time. My first year running B mod was 2012, and it was just me and my dad doing it all the way up, just racing B mods all the way up until 2021. I was able to get hooked up with my car owners, Troy Witt and Lori Witt, Jeff Witt, just a really great family, and we wouldn't be doing what we're doing right now without them. We started racing B mods for them, and they had, after a few years, some aspirations to maybe try the A mod deal, and a lot of that being because of the Heartland Tour. Honestly, I don't think it would have made much sense for us to do it without that tour getting up and going. And so obviously I was game and my dad was game, and so we made it happen, and it's been really cool to be in this position for sure.
We talk about the Heartland Tour. We, of course, myself kind of knew about it before it even, was really a thing, before there was a schedule and a structure and a rules package, and before there was even a logo, kind of knew about the Heartland deal. But it, and I talked on the show a couple weeks ago with Warren Hardy, who of course is a legendary announcer here at 81 Speedway. Used to have back in the day, and maybe you remember a little bit, but the NCRA series, and ran around with the modifieds, and that kind of went away, and everyone kind of switched over to USMTS, stuff. But the Heartland Modified Tour, you got a couple years to watch it before you jumped into it. But, like you said, that tour makes sense for the working racer. the people that have to be in Humboldt, Kansas all week long. But I don't know what you do for a living, but they have to be in Humboldt, Kansas all week long, and they're Friday night is their time to get into the race car, and that's what they got. The series. Just want to hear your thoughts on the series and being with it for a year, getting started on your second year. What's from a racer's perspective, how's everything look?
Yeah, it's absolutely awesome for guys like us. We would love to do more, and we might try to do that one day. But like you said, it's the guys that are running that series do an awesome job. Not only just on the day-to-day running things at the racetrack, but like you said, we're fortunate enough to live within a few hours of most of the races that we go to. But like you said, I mean, when we go to the farthest tracks away from where I live, at the end of the day, I'm probably only going to have to take a handful of Fridays off to run that entire series, and I know that goes a long way for a lot of people, not just us. So, and on top of that, like where we live there in the Kansas City area, that's why I, wanted to race an A-Mod and dreamed of racing an A-Mod, because back in the day, Lakeside was one of the places to be, with the A-Mods, just all kinds of awesome guys, and not only Lakeside, but a lot of the other racetracks, and when the series would come through and whatnot, and then unfortunately it just kind of died out a little bit, not fully, but a lot of our racetracks don't have them, and that's why it, wouldn't have made sense for us to do it. We wouldn't be able to go tag along, with, in enough USMTS races to make it make sense, unless you had something like this, where, like you said, a guy can still have a full-time job and run a good amount of A-Mod races. And I think that's also why you're seeing some of these racetracks decide that they want to have some A-Mod races from time to time throughout the year, because I think they're realizing that there still are people out there with A-Mods and want to race A-Mods. It just have to be a little more strategic about how we do it, as far as how many times we race and where we go and how much it pays and all that kind of stuff. So, but for sure, hats off to Trenton and Eric and anybody that has a hand in the Heartland Tour and all of their series, really. So it's been awesome for us, and we're excited to follow them around for another year.
Here at 81, of course, we have a strong field of modified stuff, and I know the USRA gets a little sketchy when you call it the A-Mods. They want to call it the Modifieds, but we have a good field of Modifieds on a weekly series here for alternative pest management. And for a couple years there, we had the highest percentage car count for the USRA world, and we're real proud of that. Humboldt, yes. We tried to bring it back for a couple years and just didn't have the car count, and it just didn't make sense for the track. But to have the Heartland series, makes a lot of sense for us at Humboldt. We are going to run some weekly stuff, a handful of races. We got some great partners over at Humboldt, and we are going to kind of bring the A-Mods a little back this year. But bring the Heartland series in and always a great field of cars, always, stellar field, but you're still racing for good money. It's that they have a good purse put together, and they, a lot of contingencies for you drivers to be able to have some extra stuff. And it's just, it's just a good, for me, that came from the NCRA type deals. Then it's good to see this series back and thriving. And of course, a couple years ago, unfortunately for the USMTS, the weather was a little off. So we were seeing the Heartland series was seeing 50 and 60 car counts, and basically having a little USMTS race going on, and that really got them going and a lot of recognition. And then of course, I've had just a standout, series winners as well. The list just keeps growing, and everyone's chasing it, and it's just been really good for that. Want to talk about last year, of course, you got into a three-way battle for the championship with Bobby Williams and Brandon Givens, and you guys battled it out to the absolute last lap, last turn, last everything. Kind of talk about the latter half of the year and, just where it didn't really go wrong for you, but I'm sure that you kind of analyzed where you could have done things a little bit different and maybe had a different outcome, and then moving that into the new year.
Yeah, for sure. We were really pleased to be in that position at the last race of the year there. We had a little bit of bad luck throughout the year, just things that happen, and rookie mistakes, or just things that didn't go our way. But we also had to miss a weekend, which we knew was a possibility going into it. I had a wedding. One of my buddies got married, and so we did that. And actually, I've got another one this year that it's looking like I'm going to have to probably miss a weekend of the Heartland Tour for that. But there's bigger things in life, and I'm not going to miss one of my buddies getting married, obviously. But when you talk about last year, I mean, that's part of the reason why we were pleased to be in that position, knowing that we weren't able to run all the races, or, had some of those nights that were coulda, woulda, shoulda type deals where we had some good runs going and things happened. And but overall, yeah, I mean, we were really successful on the tour, and it was good to know that going into the last race we had to win, basically, to have a shot. I mean, we didn't have to, but we pretty much had to, and we did, and that was cool, being at one of my tracks that I've raced at a lot. So I feel like when it came down to that last race, I mean, we did everything that we could do, and we weren't disappointed by any means in the result. I mean, Bobby Williams winning that, he deserved it for sure. He was consistent at all the races, finished a bunch of them, but if not all of them. I'm sure he was really close, to finishing all of them. And same with Brandon. He I think he had to miss the same weekend as me, but he really, got hot there at the end of the year and started making up points fast. And so, at the end of the day, congratulations to Bobby again, obviously. And, but it was really cool to be in that position, and it was cool for the series to have a battle down to the end there. So
yeah, it was fun to watch, that's for sure. Of course, had Bobby on the show. Brandon and I have been friends for quite a few years. I've met you quite a few times, so it was exciting to see that happen. It's every once in a while you get someone that just runs away with the show, and it's over, a few weekends with a few weekends to go. But that's where, what you guys did last year with the three-way battle, that's really what, the race fans love to see, love to just, to the bitter end, what is going to happen, like just not sure when you drop the green flag on that final A feature, and see how it all shakes out at the end. That was, you guys did had an absolutely fantastic year. I know, like you said, you've kind of picked out a couple things, and you're going to improve on it, and this year you're going to hopefully come out swinging, and with 2 nights over at Humboldt, it's going to be a good weekend, that's for sure. And the weather is anticipated to be absolutely beautiful, which is what we want to see. In March.
Nice and warm here today.
March has not always been our friend over at the Hummer, and but this year is looking pretty good. Yeah.
That's for sure. I see 87 degrees tomorrow for the high.
Yeah, it's gonna feel like a April May time, but we're gonna kick it off tomorrow. I don't want to keep you. I know you've been working all day, and you still got to go to work tomorrow, so I won't keep you all night. But I do want to give you an opportunity. You've talked about your car owners and some other things, but without your car owners, without all the sponsors on the side of that 56, none of this would be possible. And I want to give you an opportunity to give them all a shout out. Anyone that puts a hand on the car and helps out, just thank them as we're getting ready to roll.
Yeah, man. I've had a lot of the same sponsors for quite a little while, and one of them being 54th Street Grill and Bar. They've been with me ever since 2013, and it's pretty cool. They took a chance on a young kid at that time, that was just getting into it, and they've been with us ever since. So I really appreciate them. We also have Chip Harris Heating and Cooling, and then Premier Lubricants, who is actually going to be at a lot of the Heartland Tour races this year, which will be cool for him and his business, and to be able to see him around a lot this year. A new one this year is Milborn Electric. They came on this year, and they're really good people, and I really appreciate them doing that. They didn't have to do that by any means, and it's just cool to have people like that on your side. We've also got Cameron Glass. We've got KS Engineering, builds an awesome motor and goes above and beyond for us. Like I said, Skyrocket Chassis, Balance Speed with Jim Chisholm. And then we've got PEM, and I think that's about it. I also, like I said, my car owners couldn't do any of this without them. They've been absolutely amazing to me, and I tell people all the time I'm spoiled with them. So, and then of course my mom and dad and my fiance. I mean, everybody's sacrificed a lot for me to race this long, and I really appreciate it.
Well, man, it's going to be a good year. It was a good year last year for you and your team, and you guys came out of the gate swinging, and I expect that to be the scene tomorrow. Get you some rest tonight, not a lot of work, just a little bit of work tomorrow, and get ready to go. But it's 2 nights over at Humboldt. I guess the last question before we send you off is, you've seen quite a few different racetracks, of course, with the Heartland and running the B mod. But as far as track size goes, how do you what's your jam?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really have a specific size that I enjoy more than the other. I think it's just kind of track specific. They all have their own characteristics and stuff, and knock on wood, Humboldt's always been pretty good to me. Like you said, we ran good there last year, and I'm excited to get over there, and just excited that racing season's getting going here. So hopefully we can kick the season off good.
Well, if you haven't already, there's a picture of Saturday night's prize to take home if you park it there at Pete's Convenience Store, Victory Lane. And there's also one for Friday. No pressure. But last year, Randall Schiffelbein Jr. picked up both of them and doubled up on the weekend. So I know he's going to be raring to go. So if you want to get a couple unique trophies, make sure you get some good rest tonight and get ready to go. Because
maybe I can just drive over and get them right now.
There you go. Put my name on the check as soon as I pull in. I'm gonna get this handled.
No, we don't get ahead of the horse here.
That's right. Well, if and to everyone else, if you haven't, go over to the Facebook page, Humboldt Speedway, 81 Speedway, custom trophy, try to do that for a lot of the big shows. And of course, we got one for Friday night too, since we got a double show. But man, I'm excited. Like I told you when we were talking the other day, I work third shift, so I'll get off about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'd already told John Allen I'm going to head straight over and get ready to go. I'm excited to get race season started.
Boy, hopefully you get some sleep.
Yeah, we're living on we're going to be living on caffeine the next till October. This is going to be a little rough, but we'll get her figured out. Well, man, I really appreciate you taking some time out of your night to talk with us here, and it's always a pleasure to see you at the races, and we're looking forward to seeing you again for the next 2 nights, and wish you the best of luck. And like I said, if just don't work too hard tomorrow. Let your boss know if you need you got my number. I'll give you an excuse for tomorrow to slack off a little bit. So
there you go.
Racing.
Cool.
But appreciate your time tonight, man. Thank you very much, and we'll see you tomorrow at Humboldt.
Awesome. I appreciate you guys having me, and we'll see you there.
Yes, sir. See you later.
Yep. Bye.
Great conversation there with Shadren Turner, getting ready for 2 nights for Whitworth Spring Classic over at Humboldt Speedway. As you saw, J.R. Sartain, of course, jumping in here. He's not sure what was going on, but left me a nice text message as always. So let's talk about tomorrow night over at Humboldt, kind of just give you the rundown of what's going to happen. Night number 1 of the Whitworth Spring Classic with the Heartland Modified Tour and your Midwest Mod Mania going to happen. 8 o'clock start time, of course. Pit's going to open at 5, grandstand at 6 o'clock. Hot laps will start promptly at 7:30 and racing at 8 o'clock. Pit pass is going to be $35. Children 5 to 10 are $20. Children 4 and under are absolutely free into the Humboldt Speedway. General admission $20 into the grandstand. Senior 65 in the military going to be $18. Children 10 and under, of course, are absolutely free for Humboldt Speedway. No outside food or drink, clear bag policy is in effect. Classes that are going to run, of course, the Heartland Modified Tour, been talking about that. Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod Series with the Midwest Mod Mania. Mini Stock and Tuner Division, and also the new Pure Stock class will be in attendance with us tomorrow night for night number 1 of the Whitworth Spring Classic. Of course, moving on to Saturday, everything pretty much the same, except for we're going to start 1 hour earlier. Pit gates are going to open at 4, grandstand at 5 o'clock, hot laps at 6:30. Racing will start at 7, so just moving up an hour on all of the stuff for Saturday night number 2 of the Whitworth Spring Classic with the Heartland Modified Tour. Same division is going to run, of course, your Extrusions Inc. Midwest Mod, your Mini Stock and Tuner Division, and the Pure Stock Division will run. So weekly championship points are going to kick off for the Midwest Mods, the Mini Stock and Tuners, and your Pure Stocks, and then, of course, the year for the Heartland Modified Tour. Prices still all the same for Saturday, Friday, and Saturday. Pricing into the pits or grandstands absolutely the same, but Saturday night we will get started 1 hour earlier. We're going to keep talking about that as we go through the weekend. Like I said, once I get over to Humboldt tomorrow morning, we'll of course go live again on the Facebook page. I'll get a spot at the racetrack. Go live on the Facebook page. We'll just kind of talk about times and everything as we get going. As the track crew has been working really hard over there, and need to give a shout out to the entire FOE Army over at Humboldt Speedway, as they've been working all week long on the facility, getting it cleaned up, getting the track ready, and getting everything ready to go. But it's been absolutely fantastic weather over there in southeast Kansas, so looking forward to that. So if you're absolutely unable to make it into the grandstands or with us over in Humboldt tomorrow, this will be streamed live on racingdirt.com. Of course, our great friends at Racing Dirt are going to be in the house for the Heartland Modified Tour, and as they will all year long. Every Heartland race will be streamed live on racingdirt.com. So, of course, this Friday and Saturday, no difference there. So we'd love to see you in the grandstands, but if it's just too far of a drive for you, we absolutely understand. Make sure you are tuned in to racingdirt.com to get that checked out. Moving on to next weekend, we will be closed on March 27th at Humboldt, as the entire FOE Army will be over at 81 getting ready for the Tall Grass Tussle for the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars on the 28th. If you haven't already, make sure you get your reserve tickets. We've been talking about that. Top 10 rows of the grandstands are all reserve tickets, so if you have a spot that you love to sit in at the grandstands here at 81 Speedway, your same spot, you want to get on and get those reserve tickets. The link, if you go to the website, 81speedway.com, you can get to the details tab for the World of Outlaws Tall Grass Tussle. You want to get on there, click that link. It'll take you to the World Racing Group, and they handle all ticketing. Of course, again, pit passes will be sold day of, and if you have been to a World of Outlaws event here at the Speedway, the lines are going to be super long. Make sure you get here. There's always a little bit of tailgating that goes on, so park in the back of the parking lot. Get the grill out. Get some drinks in. There's always some people playing tower golf or, a little cornhole tournament going on, anything like that, they got music playing. And, I try to go live on the Facebook page kind of before the races to show you what's going on in the parking lot, what you're missing out on if you're not here to watch it. That will be, of course, on Dirt Vision if you absolutely cannot make it to the racetrack. Allied Battery stock cars are going to kick their year off on March 28th. So World of Outlaws sprint cars and Allied Battery stock cars, the two classes that will happen on March 28th here at the Speedway. Reminder, shouldn't have to say it, but always need to say it. We are closed March 21st. That was this Saturday here at the Speedway. Of course, we'll be over in Humboldt. We invite you over for that. If you were here for Broadway Truck and Auto Godfather 150, absolutely fantastic race. Dallas Butchie picks up the win, 2 in a row for that team, the 55. Just a great emotional victory lane at O'Reilly Auto Parts and the Logan's Landscaping and Tree Service victory lane. Great. That's went live on the Facebook page a few times for that. So if you want to watch some racing for the Enduro, get on there and take that. And of course that victory lane celebration with Dallas Butchie in the 55 car. We wish them the best. They're going to go on and race a couple more Enduros here in the next couple of weeks, so hope they carry their momentum into that. Looking forward to April 4th, a big race here at 81 Speedway, and we're gonna get Greg Dethridge on the show here in the next week or two. The Revival Dirt Late Model Series for the Terry Dethridge Tribute going to be on April 4th, so that is a race you absolutely do not want to miss. If you are a dirt late model fan like myself and Jeremy Heim, you want to make sure you circle that one on the calendar. So April 4th, be here at 81 Speedway for the Revival Dirt Late Model Series for the Terry Dethridge Tribute. And of course, we're going to get Greg Dethridge on the show. We've had him on before, but we'll get him on again and have him, get some stories about his dad a little bit more as we get to that tribute that we're going to have for the Revival Dirt Late Model Series here at 81. That's all I got for tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in every Thursday night with me, or most Thursday nights as the off season's every other week type thing. But as we get racing, we're going to go every week unless my schedule just absolutely can't get it done. But we're going to try to do every week. I got some guests lined up to have on the show. Of course, like with Shadren, he's over in Humboldt, so we got to do it on the phone. But as much as I can get people into the studio, we're going to do that as well. Don't forget to go over to the YouTube page, hit that like and subscribe button, share with all your friends what you're watching on YouTube. Make sure you leave a comment that helps grow the community. Pit stops still have some, for whatever reason, I had them rolling there for a minute and then they started blocking them again. So trying to figure out what's going on with that. I have a few more to post. And of course, as we get over Friday and Saturday, we're going to start some new ones, and those will come out. Got some new questions for the 26th season as well. So still 15 questions live from the pit area with me, Andy Clark, and we're going to, a couple new questions going to hit the deal. So be paying attention for that as we get that shared. Don't forget about Dirt Track Diaries, little show that JR Sartain has going on the YouTube as well. A lot of information, just kind of a background view of what happens to get ready for a race night. The things that go on at the Speedway, and there was some banquet stuff on there, of course, preparing for the banquet that we had, and good stuff. So Dirt Track Diaries on the YouTube, get over there and hit that like notifications tab as well. So appreciate each and every one of you. Want to again extend an invite over to Humboldt Speedway for 2 nights of Whitworth Spring Classic. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night, and we're looking forward to getting that one kicked off. But that is going to do it for me here for Above the Cushion on Thursday night. Good night. God bless. We'll see you at the races.